Thank you, Hannah.
Excellencies, quelle grande occasion.
What a wonderful moment and occasion.
Really quite a room. Replenishment is quite a word, isn't it? Replenishment. I mean, it sounds a lot less like number crunching and bank accounts and a lot more like, you know, something that might happen at a very exclusive spa, you know? Seriously, it brings to mind a very cozy image of, say, myself and Bill Gates in our robes, sipping a green tea and waiting for our oxygen facials. Could happen. Anyway, excuse the levity. It's a serious moment for so many people here and for so many people not here. Fighting the monster that is HIV. And we're all here for the Global Fund to replenish and praise it and challenge it as well. And to remember that we are very, very glad it exists. It might be important this morning to remember what the global emergency looked like 10 or 15 years ago. I have to say, there are some scenes that are just seared on my brain. One I would like to share with you as the one campaign was forming before Red. There's Deborah Dugan right there, even existed. I remember visiting South Africa in 2001 and meeting an activist called Prudence. Brilliant, beautiful girl, sophisticated, smart, educated. Prudence showed us around a ghetto near Cape Town, Kailiche. That day, we later learned, was the same day her sister was buried. Her sister who had died of HIV/AIDS. That day, buried that day. I remember thinking, what could make you miss your your young sister's funeral? What could be more important? Turns out Prudence was with us because she wanted to communicate to the outside world the horror of this disease, this preventable, treatable disease that was killing sisters and brothers and mothers and fathers, killing communities, burying hope all around her. And that's why she wasn't there. She is with us. I asked Prudence if there had been any way at all for her to get those antiretroviral therapies to keep her sister alive. And Prudence stopped me in her tracks with her reply. She said yes, but myself and our group decided it was better to give the drugs to an activist who could possibly save more lives than just the one. For an activist to hear that, well, you never stop hearing it. Prudence wanted us to see, she wanted us to understand, she wanted us to help her understand how the world could not find in its heart to deliver 2 pills a day to keep more people like her sister alive. That is why all of us in this room pledged to use every means we had to wipe off the earth this most concentrated expression of inequality. And why all of us here have pledged to work with anyone who would help us to do it, to work with companies and churches, to work with punk rock stars and truck drivers, philanthropists and scientists, the stereotypical rock stars and the real stars like Mark Dybel there, our very brilliant head of the Global Fund and my compatriot in arm-twisting, ass-kicking and ass-kissing, Mark Dybel there. Now our band of misfits crossed party lines, boundaries of good taste at times, certainly boundaries of common sense at times. But we needed leadership anywhere we could find it, from activists in the street and, let's be honest, in places like Sussex Drive. Let's not kid around. And guess what? We've had both. And millions now get the drugs they need. HIV positive mothers no longer have to pass on the virus that will kill their child. The Global Fund and its battle led against this disease has had an extraordinary success. It is an extraordinary success story. As you've heard, I mean, let's hear it again, 20 million lives, 20 million people kept alive. That's extraordinary. That's an extraordinary number. Just over half the population of Canada kept alive. I'm trying to think of anything comparable in history, and I can't. And it's quite an extraordinary success of the United Nations. This is one of the great responses of the United Nations. And we're very grateful for your leadership on that, sir. And also just at a time when these kinds of multilateral initiatives are receiving so much chill in a world, it's just great to see Canada leading on this. You've always been ahead of the curve in realizing we can do more if the international community works together, and subsuming your ego into the sort of grand plan. So that's a big deal. Now, Canada, as well as playing a key role in the Global Fund's development and continuing to play it in the future, has put on this great conference. And I want to thank the Prime Minister for standing at a crucial time and putting your young government's time, treasure and reputation on the line for the Global Fund. Merci, Monsieur Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister.
I know this reflects the Prime Minister's personal commitment to equality, égalité pour tous, including the world's poor.
Equality for all.
World's women and girls. Because of course there will be no equality, there will be no end of extreme poverty unless we invest in women and girls. So again, Prime Minister, the world hears you when you say poverty is sexist. You say it loud. Et c'est pour ça
and that is why I am here, and that is why I am your friend and the friend of Canada.
The past few years I spent a lot of time here in Canada, rehearsing with you two, wandering around, indeed hitchhiking on a few occasions. The more time I spend, the more I agree with my younger self that the world needs more Canada. The world needs more Canadas. Yes, it does. In the USA, they speak of themselves as a melting pot, but Canada it doesn't speak like that. It says we're a mosaic. I love that, a marvel of integration. As I was saying, as many European countries double up their windows and doors, you have so welcomed Syrian refugees that your immigration minister said, and I quote, "I can't provide refugees fast enough for all the Canadians who want to sponsor them." That's incredible. Let me try this again. Retenons ceci pour une seconde.
Let's remember this for 1 second. The government can't provide enough refugees for all of the Canadians that want to sponsor them.
Here. And that is indeed why the world needs more Canadas. Years ago, I remember talking to Paul Martin about Canada's decision to cancel the debts of the poorest countries, and I'll never forget what he said about his country. And I was thanking him for the people of Canada, for how far they'd come and for what they had done. And he said, no, it's not about where we've come from. It's not about how far we've come. He said, it's where we started from. It's who we are. And I think that's true. It is who you are. Not just inside your borders, but on the world stage. A leader, once again, of a multilateral system that needs moral integrity as much as it needs military might. I also read Canada's great statesman and Nobel laureate, Lester Pearson. When he was stationed in London during the Blitz, 1940, around that time, he wrote in that moment as London burned. He wrote, "Civilization could not stand much more of this kind of destruction, and that we Canadians have to try and stop it." You can draw a line straight from that moment to this moment today, in my mind. There is destruction that we have to stop, bombings and war in Syria and elsewhere, but there's also the slower, more grinding destruction that happens still in clinics where people queue up to get the worst and the last news of their lives. HIV/AIDS. Nous gagnons cette bataille pour la...
We are winning this battle for civilization, but the work is not over.
It's only as strong as we make it, so we can't and won't let up. I won't let you if you won't let me. I know the 7 million members of the One campaign won't let up. I know the Canadian people won't let up. And I know your Prime Minister won't let up. This amateur boxer is no amateur arm wrestler, let me tell you. He's a professional fighter on behalf of the values of the Canadian people. He's throwing some knockout punches at these three diseases. It's who we all should be, in fact. It's not just who you are. It's who we all should be. So merci, Prime Minister, and merci
Thank you, Prime Minister, and thank you all
for having us here in Montreal.